Meet the fascinating and scary Lovecraftian villains who might send a chill down your spine. Imagine being frozen in fear, tormented, or trapped in an unknown dimension, slowly fading away. If these terrifying situations intrigue you, you're in the right place. In today's video, we'll explore the most chilling creatures of cosmic horror. The Cthulhu Mythos, lurking just beyond our world, is full of horrifying beings known as the Great Old One, Elder Gods, was created by H.P. Lovecraft and expanded by writers like Ramsey Campbell, Robert Bloch, Lin Carter, and others. These Lovecraftian monsters are not just deadly. They have the power to break your mind, disfigure your body, and trap you in endless torment. Ready to dive in? But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Glocky. Glocky, created by Ramsey Campbell and first appearing in The Inhabitant of the Lake, 1964, is a Lovecraftian monster. This ancient slug-like entity is covered in metallic spikes and has tentacles with eyes for seeing underwater. It lives in a lake in Severn Valley, England, and is believed to have arrived via a meteorite, though it has been spotted in other waters too. Glocky possesses immense knowledge and can control mind, allowing it to lead a cult of people made up of humans and undead beings. The cult recorded its teachings and knowledge in 12 books called The Revelations of Glocky. These scriptures cover worship, sorcery, and information about other great old ones like Yanak and Chnar Fawn. Chnar Fawn, also known as the Elephant God, first appeared in Frank Belknap Long's The Horror from the Hills, 1931. It came from another dimension, where it had a different form with ropey arms. Nearly 2 billion years ago, it arrived on Earth, taking the shape of a two-legged vampire elephant with a leech-like mouth at the end of its trunk. Chnar Fawn uses its trunk to drain blood, earning it the nickname the Feeder. Its appearance includes webbed, tentacle-like ears and crystal tusks, and its body material makes it appear like a stone statue when still. It can also change its size, so its true form is not fully known. Parts of Chnar Fawn's body can operate independently, known as the Brothers of Chnar Fawn. Both the entity and its brothers have psychic abilities, allowing them to communicate with humans through dreams. When Chnar captures a victim, it drains their blood and mutilates them. If the victim is kept alive, a psychic bond forms, enabling Chnar to kill them later using telepathy. Bibus, the Berkeley toad, looks like a colossal cyclopean creature trapped beneath the Severn Valley, England. Primary Bibus was created by Robert Bloch in the short story The Slumber of the Stars in the 1935 issue of Weird Tales, although other mythos writers later expanded the character. Ramsey Campbell gave it a central role in his short story The Room in the Castle from 1964. Bibus is multicolored with a single massive eye and tentacle-like beard. Its claws are similar to that of a crab. According to the short story The Beard of Bibus by Robert M. Price, its facial tentacles can turn others into stone, and Bibus can disguise itself as a human being. In ancient times, the Deep Ones brought an idol of Bibus, which was eventually sealed behind a door. After the Roman conquest of Britain, a group of soldiers formed a cult around, but they were later wiped out. In the 18th century, Sir Gilbert Morley managed to control Bibus, allowing it to roam at night and feed on villagers while keeping it confined in a castle dungeon during the day. Eventually, Bibus trapped itself after consuming Morley. Gatanathoa, known as the Demon God, is a terrifying Great Old One in the Cthulhu Mythos. This massive creature, whose gaze petrifies victims, was brought to Earth in prehistoric times by the Migo aliens from Yugoth and sealed under a fortress on Mountain Yadith. It first appeared in Out of Eons, 1935, by H.P. Lovecraft and Hazel Heald, with more details in Lin Carter's The Thing in the Pit. Gatanathoa's form is an amorphous mix of octopus and elephant covered in scales and wrinkle. Its gaze causes victims to be paralyzed while remaining unconscious, their skin turning leathery. To avoid its wrath, humans offered sacrifice, and its cult has followers in regions like Egypt, China, Persia, and others, even in the modern Far East and Pacific Islands. Ron-T-Goth is another ancient and monstrous entity, first introduced by H.P. Lovecraft in his short story The Horror in the Museum, 1932. and later expanded by Lin Carter, Lawrence J. Cornford, and Chaosium. It's a 15-foot-tall Great Old One who used to live in the seas of Yuga. Like many other Great Old Ones, Ron-Tigoth is also an immortal entity linked to Earth's distant past. It came to Earth from outer space during the Pliocene epoch. Ron-Tigoth is a Medusa-like insectoid with a barrel-shaped trunk, 6 clawed appendages, and beady eyes. Its feelers are like additional mouths that secrete acidic digestive juice. It feeds on the blood and innards of its victims, and the bodies are dismembered and crushed by its force after sucking the blood out. Ron-Tigoth was the last god to go slumber beneath Arctic ice, and its tale begins when George Rogers discovers its frozen body during an expedition to the Arctic and transfers it to a museum in London in 1926, considering the body as a long-dead relic. Though it stayed there in a dormant stage, it physically influenced Rogers to make human sacrifice. Later, it was removed from the public eye due to its grotesque. However, it was later sighted in Sheffield and Massachusetts. Zar and Loigor. Zar and Loigor, aka the Twin Obscenity, the Star Treader, are twin old great ones embodying cosmic horror and possess some robust characteristics. They were introduced in the short story The Lair of the Starspawn by August Derleth and Mark Schroer. Zar and Loigar, connected by the star Antares, have tentacles entangled with each other's bodies that stay far in the same cave. They rest in the caverns beneath the Lake of Dread on the plateau of Sung's Isle of the Stars in Burma. Zar, the older of the twins, is highly powerful and can influence cult. Loigar, worshipped by the Chocho people of Tibet and Burma, shows its presence through sourceless wind. They are considered the descendants of Chnar Fawn and related to Hoster, Ron-Tigoth, and Andithaqua. After defeating Zar and Loigor, elder gods banished their minds to outer space that connect each other through the star Antari. The Chocho, abducted scientist Eric Marsh and Fo Lang, reunite their minds with their body. However, the elder gods intervene and flooded the cavern, burying their bodies beneath the earth. Ugolinak. Golinak, or the Defiler, is a terrifying Great Old One introduced in Ramsey Campbell's short story Cold Print, 1969, and later mentioned in the Revelations of Glocky. This creature is linked to bidden desires and sadism, trapped behind a brick wall in a ruin. Its true form is unclear, but it manifests through a human host, appearing as a headless, obese man with mouthed hands. Ugolinak understands human nature and can communicate through its host. It can be summoned by reading disturbing text, and those who do may either serve as its priest or be eaten. Ugolinak has a small cult, and it can possess individuals who mention its name near any evil, particularly in Brichester City. Insects from Shagai. The Shans, or the insects of Shagai, are insectoid aliens first introduced by British writer Ramsey Campbell in his story The Insects from Shagai in 1964. They originated in the distant planet of Shagai, and there they used to torture various slaves from other planets. They are deeply tied with the worship of the god Azathoth and associated with horrible practices. Shans have semicircular ridged wings covered in triangular scale. Their lidless eyes, 3 mouths, and tendrils covered with black tentacles created an unsettling look. Despite being high speed, these creatures cannot fly long distance. The insects from Shagai have 6-lobed brains, separate right and left hemispheres. They have highly developed psychic abilities, which allow them to communicate telepathically within their species. When Shans come in contact with species other than their own, they can also understand their emotions using the central nervous system. They also like to haunt different localities to get a narcotic experience. These creatures are incredibly long-lived and may span from 15 to 18 centuries. They create their food through photosynthesis. The green rays of the double suns of Shagai help in this process. Star Vampire. The Star Vampire is a grotesque, blood-sucking, invisible creature that Robert Bloch created in his 1935 story, The Shambler from the Star. These creatures are generally invisible under normal circumstances, which makes them hard to detect. However, after feeding on the victims, their blood makes it visible as a translucent mass with organs, tentacles, and veins. They have suckers that allow this creature to drain out the blood from the victim. Their muscular tentacles are so powerful they can crush a man to death. Though the exact origin is unknown, stars are taken as their origin, considering their extraterrestrial nature. The star vampires may have some associations with Sathagua. The Grimoire de Vermees Mysteries has the spell to summon the star vampire, and it mentions Bufoniformis Sadoc, toad-like Sathagua. suggesting some relation between the two. Though the sapiens level of this creature is unknown, they are taken as intelligent enough to serve domestic. Ludwig Prynne, the occult magician and author of the previously mentioned book, kept some star vampires as his dedicated servants. Dowloth. Dowloth, also known as the Renders of the Veils, is an outer god introduced by British author Ramsey Campbell in his story The Render of the Veil. This creature's form can drive a summoner insane at first glance, so it must be some complete dark using the summoner's blood. Dowloth has an indescribable shape and can expand infinitely if not contained by magic. It exists in an unknown realm beyond human comprehension. While worship of Dowloth is rare on Earth, those seeking knowledge may choose to honor it. Summoners can ask Dowloth to reveal the true forms of objects, rather than how they appear to the senses. However, those who attempt to summon this outer god often find themselves transported to other planes of existence, leading to their demise. According to the revelations of Bloch, Dowloth will ultimately unveil the true dimensions of Earth by lifting the veil at the end of days. Zicotlans. Zicotlans are predatory creatures with high strength and low int. Ramsey Campbell introduced this creature in his short story, The Insects from Shagai. The insects of Shagai enslaved them to serve and come to Earth with them. These faceless and pillar-shaped creatures on Earth guard Shan's temple during the day. Therefore, these are also known as the Daytime Guardians. Zicotlans have a tall body with 6 tentacles and a maw at the top. They generally rest immobile, giving the illusion of a tree with cylindrical branches arranged around the apex. This creature has an oval head, metallic body color, and cylindrical short legs. The energy field emitted from the crystal box device of the insects of Shagai make them obedient and loyal servants. They are worshippers of a vegetable deity and must sacrifice themselves regularly as food for it. Atlak Naka. Atlak Naka, also known as the Spider God, Spinner of the Dark, first appeared in Clark Ashton Smith's short story The Seven Geeses, and was later expanded by August Derrith, Lin Carter, Lawrence J. Cornford, Rand Cartwright, and others. This great old one mostly appears as a giant spider with an anthropomorphic face and human-like facial expression. However, it sometimes also appears as a gorgeous woman with multiple arms. Atlak Naka comes to Earth from Saturn with Sathagua, which helped it reach Earth by forming webs between planets. These creatures stay behind Mount Vormithidreth in the kingdom of Hyperborea, where it spins web. Atlak Naka forms the bridge, joining the dream world with the waking world. Per the beliefs, the world will end when it finishes its spinning web. Atlak Naka has many cults, with followers in India and the Andaman Islands. It grants its worshippers knowledge and visions from other dimensions. Marvelous verdict. Now that we have reached the end of this video, it's clear that the Cthulhu Mythos is not just another monster story. It's a world where the villains are cosmic entities, older than time, with power beyond imagination, and their presence can unravel your grip on reality. The brilliance of these Lovecraftian villains lies in their ability to evoke a deeper fear beyond mere physical threat. The Lovecraftian universe reminds us that some of the worst horrors are beyond our understanding. These cosmic horrors are not just about tentacled monsters or spider gods spinning apocalyptic web. They illustrate human insignificance in the presence of these vast unknown beings. Ultimately, confronting the great old ones or outer gods leads to existential dread, where the choice is either to laugh or go mad. Which team do you belong to? Tell us in the comments section while we sign off today. Bye-bye.